Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Think Tank Thursday. I'm Denise Killian with Trainertainment, and I'm thrilled that you're joining us today. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors for 2025. We appreciate what they do and to allow us to bring you new episodes of Think Tank Thursday each and every week. So on Thursdays, Trainertainment likes to take a little break from the doing and spend a little bit of time thinking. And today we're going to be talking about something that is near and dear to my heart as a member of Trainertainment, and that is training and how important a training program is for the great success of your center. And we're going to be speaking with Lambert of Betson, who not only owned and operated centers on her own, but also is a big believer in training and onboarding processes. So let's hear what she has to tell us. Amber, thank you so much for joining us for this week's Think Tank Thursday. I always get so excited when I get to talk to you because I learn so much from it.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
So for those people that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Betson.
There's people out there that still don't know me? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Two people. Just two.
So I do sales for Betson, but I used to own and run my own family entertainment center. I've had employees. I built it from the ground up. I worked for a corporate-owned family entertainment center for a while. And then I also worked for one of the major game card companies. So I've had a little bit of everything under my belt, and I like to help people increase their business.
That's fantastic. So one of the things that we're going to talk about today is training, which of course, no surprise, I work for Trainertainment, big believer in training. I think a lot of times folks hire people and think, I'm not going to waste my time in training them because, they're going to be gone in 6 weeks anyway, or 3 months. So what's the point? And I think it's just a tremendous mistake that a lot of operators make, not investing in training from day one, right? How important is it to start that process literally as they are starting?
I mean, turnover is one of your most expensive things, right? The cost to try to retrain somebody, and it's not just in FECs and locations, but I can't even tell you how many jobs I've had personally that I've been thrown to the wolves and expected to figure it out myself. And it leaves you with a poor first impression of your employer and where you're working. So I think it's super important to have some sort of program, a mentorship, something that gets people, to know what's expected of them. There's a lot of people that will come to me and say, hey, my employees aren't doing this or doing that. Well, did you tell them? I know it's a simple thing, but half the time they can't read your mind, and they just, you think that they should know, but they don't.
Mm-hmm. And I love that mentorship. Like when you first start, you don't even know where the bathroom is, much less anything else. And so, and some folks think the onboarding process is, okay, let me teach you how to clock in and out. Here's how to work the POS. Okay, go, your shift starts now. That's not, it's a good onboarding process. And I love the idea of, I like to call it a buddy, is that you assign a buddy to that new person. That's the person that is going to be there with them or helping them, and their kind of immediate go-to the first 6 to 12 weeks that they're working.
It's crazy because when you start a new job, your boss is scary, right? Like you don't want to go ask the boss certain questions. So to have somebody that's more of a peer, and I've even seen this work successfully in school classrooms, but sometimes they'll put like third and fourth graders together, and the older kids teach the younger kids, and they actually learn by teaching, right? So you're not just helping the one employee, you're helping both, right? The older employee that feels like, oh yeah, I gotta, I'm the big brother or big sister. right? It gives them confidence in what they're doing and saying, oh, the boss, sees me and acknowledges that I know my job, and it helps both people.
Absolutely. And that onboarding process is so much more than just the functions
Mhm.
that you'll be doing in the job, but creating a culture.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's things that you have to teach, especially younger employees, like reading body language and um, how to react to different situations. So they're not just, like you said, clock in and clock out. It's the soft skills, and they they're not being, necessarily taught that. It's not something that they're taught at home. There's a lot of online interactions, so face-to-face interactions are scary. I mean, don't hold that against them. You're just their new parent. Guess what?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, I love the that you preach this because I do too. Training starts day one and the first minute that they come in. And it doesn't end after 3 weeks. It doesn't end after 6 weeks or 6 months or 6 years. That it's an ongoing process to continue their development, but it definitely starts in the onboarding because that first impression is really hard to overcome if it's a negative one.
Yeah, and your ROI on it is so much higher than any game or attraction or anything that you can purchase. If you invest in your people, they will increase your revenue. I guarantee.
100%. 100%. So we talked a little bit about the soft skills, which I always think it's funny that we call it soft skills because man, they're hard. Uh, right? Um,
Yes.
but they play such a big role in customer service. And especially for folks that maybe spend the majority of their time interfacing on a screen and not necessarily in person, the notion of customer service might be somewhat foreign to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think teaching things like empathy, problem solving, clear communication, when somebody asks you for directions, not just pointing, but taking somebody to the place. It's the little things that are going to make a difference in your business, but it's up to you to teach those little things to your staff. It comes second nature to you because you're the owner or the manager, and you're like, okay, well, yeah, of course I would do that, but it doesn't to your employees. So, having some role playing scenarios and things like that, but also teaching your employees your company culture. Like, hey, and you're not just going to do that. All of your people that work for you are going to do that as well.
Absolutely. And the role play I think is something that people don't think much about, but there's in terms of scheduling it in and doing that. But my goodness, it's so valuable.
Yeah, and have teaching them how to deal with complaints, right? That's going to happen. That's part of any business. How to turn a negative experience into a positive one. Um, those are the skills that they need, and I mean, clocking in is easy to teach.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so a lot of times people think, well, definitely we have to train on our safety procedures, right? Of, okay, this is a fire drill. And they put up the maps that they're required to have up from, the state of here's the exits, here's this. And you might talk about it once and you're done, right? You don't have to talk about it ever again.
Yeah, I think there's more than just more than just fire, right? I mean, there's first aid emergencies, what to do when a kid gets hurt in your center, drops a bowling ball on his foot. Um, we would always bring ice cream in an ice pack, and if they went for the ice cream, they probably weren't hurt that much, right? So, it's but you have to have procedures in place and how to deal with it, how to deal with things like blood. If there's blood somewhere, how to clean that up properly without, infecting people. I mean, even in school, they do, first person shooter drills, what to do in those situations. What happens if somebody comes in and, tries to rob you? Like, what's your employee supposed to do? And you can't wait till they're in that scenario to have them make that decision. You have to prepare them.
Right. And it's not about, well, we talked about it once.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we had in my center, we had our pipes froze and we had a flood. So we flooded out our center right before a party weekend. So we had to deal with that and how to cancel parties and how to, I mean, we actually sent them to one of our competitors because we didn't want to ruin their day because of this. But it was something that I had no idea to be even planning for, but it happened.
And it is about that safety and readiness. It is about thinking about the most horrible things, the worst things, the most unexpected things, and having the foresight to know it could happen. So, what are we going to do when it does? Because the last thing you want is people not knowing what to do in your centers when it does happen.
And practicing just it makes it second nature, right? So that's why they do fire drills. That's why they do first person shooter drills. That's why they do those things at the school, because in the situation when your adrenaline kicks in, it has to be second nature. You're not going to be thinking straight.
That's right. That's right. So, uh, doing it over and over again, doing those drills, having those regular trainings, uh,
Mm-hmm.
not just when somebody first starts, but regularly throughout the year is essential for your success.
I mean, there's still
Uh,
stuff I can learn, right? Like, I mean, we should all be always in a learning state.
yeah, absolutely. And when we talk about training, it's not just about, hey, we want to make sure that Sally is the best person working on the front desk and that's all she'll ever be, right?
Yes. Yeah. Cross training I feel is super important. Having some sort of, I don't know, path or steps for people. People want to move up, right? They want to, no, nobody's happy being stagnant, being just the front greeter. So, we used to have some different tests and trainings for different things. So, hey, if you wanted to learn to be a party host, there was two different levels that you could get certified, and then you get a pin. So they'd have all their pins on their lanyards with, all the things that they've been certified in. So it was just, it didn't cost a lot, but it was something that they could work towards and feel like they were having momentum in their, learning process or their careers. So, I mean, I know there's not a ton of upward movement in, fun centers, but you can teach people skills and give them recognition for making those, cross training and workshops and things like that. One of the locations that I took over when I first started, they had all the ladies were working inside. They were all the party hosts, they were all the redemption, and all the guys were working out at the go-karts. And I was like, oh no, this is gonna change. And so, I had some of the guys come in and party host, and I had some of the girls that became experts at go-karts. And I mean, you have to think outside the box. Some of my best party hosts were guys. So they connected with the kids, they connected with the moms. They were, you can't just put people in those boxes. You have to let them, grow and expand beyond, what you think they're just going to be good at.
Yeah, absolutely. And, not only does that help with retention of keeping people longer, because listen, if you told me, hey, you're at the front desk and that's where you're going to be for the rest of the time that you're here, I'm probably not going to be there that long, right? But
Right.
if I see there's an opportunity to grow, grow with different job functions, grow with different responsibilities, certainly pay that comes along with those growth points, and you're going to train me and help me learn how to get there. Okay, I'm sticking with you.
And in the younger generations, the pay isn't as important as regularly celebrating those achievements. So that's why, for us, even if I couldn't afford to give them a raise, giving them a pin and making a big deal of their achievement was still a big deal. It still mattered.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you mentioned some tests and some programs. Um, how do you feel about integrating technology into training?
I think there's a lot of great resources for technology. When, we had our laser tag, system. They had a certification that could go through and watch short videos and, take little quizzes. I think everybody learns differently. So some people need hands-on, some people need to read, some people need to see a video or visual learners. So, having different tools that teach people different ways and utilizing all of them, I think is very important. And also, gamifying your learning process. Everybody wants to earn rewards. Everybody wants to get, level up, right? So, gamify your learning and let people level up in their careers with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the point about, it's our job to accommodate the learning styles of others. That we can't just, oh, this is the only way that we train this. This is the only way that I'm going to tell you about this. And then be upset when they don't get it. If we're not willing to take a moment and be like, how do you learn? What is your best way to learn? Is it by doing? Is it by watching? Is it through an online course? Is it through reading a book? Right. And it's different for all of us. And if we're not accommodating that, then we're kind of failing them.
Well, and again, you can empower your employees to do some of this. So this doesn't all just fall on you. So, so maybe once a month you pick an employee and say, all right, what are you going to teach this month? Like they are on the floor. They know what's being missed by their, coworkers. And they might have a skill that you don't even know they have, right? Maybe they'll teach you how to make a great TikTok video. Maybe they're an influencer and you don't know that. So, we also need to understand that we can learn from our employees. I think a lot of people are always, hey, I'm the boss. No, you're the leader, right? So you need to be a humble servant leader and learn that they're the ones that are making your business run.
100%. I love the notion of each month having a different employee teach something. I think that is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
just
it
to,
really empowers them and they learn by teaching.
Mhm. Absolutely. The empowerment of that, but also the pride of I got picked to do this, the recognition that, hey, they see me, they see what I'm doing. I think, is so great. But sometimes you learn better from your peers than you do from your boss.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. So yeah, so it's not just a one and done
No,
training. Yeah.
no,
It's
no. It's a culture. It should be your culture. It should be part of your culture ingrained. And your employees shouldn't feel stagnant.
so so many times people are saying, will say, we're so busy, we're so crazy. When are we gonna have time to do this?
I mean, you have to make time, right? You have to make time. Again, this is your best ROI. So, you're gonna spend the money, the time on a game, on an attraction, and I sell games. So, for me to tell you, hey, this is also something you need to invest your money in. This is gonna have your best ROI. If you can retain your employees and turn them into something great, they're going to turn your employees into or your customers into something great, right? They're going to do upsells. They're going to be invested in your business. They're going to feel ownership in your business and they're going to do their best for you. And that all comes from your training and your culture.
Yeah, absolutely. When we talk about the sort of the monthly, what are we going to learn this month kind of vibe and feel, which I love. Do you encourage doing that? Because it is hard to get everyone together at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You've got people that sometimes a lot of your team are part-time. They have school commitments or perhaps another job or family commitments. Getting everybody all together at the same time, then who's running the floor? How do you break that up? How do you get it done?
Well, I mean, if you're not open 24 hours, there's probably time before or after. So we would usually do our monthly meetings. either in the evening after a shift. Usually, I mean, it's not going to be on a weekend. It's going to be on a Monday or Tuesday or day that we're not open super late. And, we would do training, but we would also feed them. We would have fun. It has to be fun. Otherwise, they're going to dread just showing up. But it wasn't optional. It was part of, hey, it was part of, when they got hired on, hey, once a month we're going to have this, and it's not optional. And obviously sometimes, there's reasons people can't make it, but that has to be, the exception, not the rule.
Yeah, absolutely. So prioritizing training, understanding that making sure that you continue to train your staff is just as important as making sure that you are doing your maintenance on your laser tag facility, or you're doing your maintenance on your bowling lanes, right? It's the same, if not more important to train than the other.
You are, maintaining your people, right? They're a resource. They're just as important or more important than anything else you have in your facility. I've often said that you could put two centers side by side, and one of them could have a sandbox in it and the most engaging employees, and the other could have all the latest, greatest attractions and employees that are not invested. And your customers are going to the sandbox. They don't care as much about the attraction as they do about how they feel when they come into your center.
That's right. That's right. And training makes it all happen.
It does.
Well, Amber, how can people get in touch with you?
So they can reach me at Lambert@Betson.com. You can go to Betson.com and reach any of our reps. There's a ton of us, and we all have different skill sets, but we're always here to help. And I'm on all the social media, so connect with me.
Beautiful. All right, so it's time for our Trainertainment question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, what do you do to grow others?
I've been doing a lot of speaking, trying to share what I know, trying to teach people some of the mistakes I made, so hopefully they can save some heartache and not make some of the same mistakes.
Beautiful. I love sharing what we know. And, for me, I know that I have learned more in my life, both professionally and personally, from my failures, from my missteps, than I have from my successes.
Absolutely.
And, having the strength to share those with others, I think is a beautiful thing. That's great, Amber. Well, Amber, thank you always for your time. This has been so great. And I hope that folks will start engaging in a more rigorous training program. But we definitely appreciate your time and your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
If there's one thing that you take away from today's Think Tank Thursday, I hope it's that you understand that training has to begin on day one and carries out until the last day the employee is working at your center. And I encourage you to develop a program that at least once a month you're targeting one area to train your team on, whether that's in personal growth and development, soft skills, safety and procedures, or customer service. So thanks so much to Amber. I always love talking to her because I learned so much. And thank you also to our sponsors for 2025. We appreciate what they do to help us bring you Think Tank each and every week. If you have an idea for Think Tank Thursday, I'd love to hear from you. Or if you'd like to be a guest, just shoot me an email at denise@trainertainment.net. Thanks to tuning in to today's episode of Think Tank Thursday. Remember that the journey to success is all about growth. And here at Trainertainment, we're here to help you. We're committed to helping you and your company thrive. So visit trainertainment.net to learn how we can support your growth journey by setting up a free growth call with one of our coaches. Or you can come see us in person. Our full schedule of events is under the events menu at trainertainment.net. And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for the extraordinary.
Playthrough is an online scoring system for mini golf courses. Simply post a QR code near the first hole. Golfers scan it with any mobile phone, add their golfers, and start entering scores. They can easily view their group leaderboard or the course leaderboards. Playthrough also includes features like hole sponsor logos and hole transition ads to help grow your business. Visit playthroughmini.com to see what else Playthrough can do.